Hello everybody, it's your favorite travel bear Ian, and I am in the heart of the Annex District. And I decided that today I'd get a little bit of a walk through some of my old stomping grounds. This is an area where my sister lived, and just figured I'd have a day to myself and just walk around and see what's changed, because I've always been kind of curious about, changes in this city. I've seen massive changes since I moved here in 1979 to current. And that brings me to changes for my YouTube channel. I've been kind of thinking about where do I want my travel channel, my YouTube channel, to go, because I've not been traveling. I traveled a fair bit at the beginning of May, most of it because of my mother-in-law passing away and then handling my mom's ashes and stuff like that. So I haven't been traveling for fun. It's been more for need and stuff. So I have a trip coming up to Manchester soon, with Scott, so it'll be his first time heading to Manchester with me. He was supposed to go with me in May, and unfortunately that didn't happen because of what was going on in our lives. But it's so I've got some travel, and I've got plans to hit Las Vegas next year and Cleveland, Ohio next year, but I'm not making a regular thing of travel. I am still going to post travel content, but I've got some other ideas. So with this journey, I'm now at the corner of essentially College and Spadina. And this corner is known for, at least it was in the late 80s, early 90s, as kind of the center of tech, more actual shops for building your own PC, buying a Mac, etc. At College and Spadina here, where Jump is behind me, really on the corner, construction in the city, imagine that, was a big, massive Mac reseller, and they also had high-end laptops and stuff like that. Behind me is a Canada Computers, and the home hardware that's up the street here actually at one point was selling like microcontroller stuff, so Arduinos and stuff like that. So I think where I want to take my channel is I want to talk a little bit about tech, my history with tech, and I think there's a bigger story here to tell of connections and friendships and such. Stories such as in the 80s and early 90s, when University of Toronto here at the McLennan Physics Laboratory had a Cray XMP computer, and one of my uncle's students actually essentially led to it to crash. So he was trying to do large matrix calculations and decided, hey, let's do a massive matrix calculation, and completely stopped all the I/O ports. So I think I'm going to interview my uncle to talk a little bit about that. So I'm now back home in my studio, Evil Science Lair, where I do all my geeky stuff and where I work, etc. And where I'm at today is, I'm going to still continue with travel content, but I'm also going to cover some tech stuff, and I know people have been asking about my music project, Polyatomic, and what I want to do is cover aspects of that particular project as well. So this also kind of combines who I am. One of my friends many years ago said, Ian, you're quite a multi-dimensional person, and yeah, there's a lot that I'm doing, there's a lot I'm involved with, etc. And I think, it's time to share even more of that. With Polyatomic, admittedly, I don't put myself out there that much. I've released 3 albums. I had to think about that. So 3 albums and 1 EP and 2 singles, and I've got a 4th album on the way. And, I should put myself out there a little bit more. So on the tech side of things, again, I'm going to cover a little bit of my own history and then connect some dots. And I think I can bring a Canadian perspective to all the US and all the European
primarily British content that I watch out there. We have some unique stuff here in Canada. For example, who knew that the Ontario government created an educational computer called the Icon? And from the Icon was born QNX. And from QNX, which was bought out by BlackBerry, is now in a whole bunch of vehicles that are out there in the world. So, a Canadian, invention of sorts. So I think there's an interesting Canadian spin that hasn't been told out there. So welcome to not just the Travel Bear, but also welcome to Ian the Tech Bear. I hope you enjoyed this.